You know deep forests and icy lakes. But imagine a place so remote, time itself seems frozen, where a trapper's footsteps are the only sound in miles. That was the world of Joe Labelle, a fur trapper working near the frigid shores of Angikuni Lake, in what is now Nunavut, Canada. It was November 1930, and Labelle was following his usual route, through snow-draped pines and across reflective frozen water. He expected to find the familiar warmth of an Inuit settlement he had passed before. But what he found chilled him deeper than the Arctic air. Labelle crested a ridge and saw what looked like smoke. But there was no one home. As he approached, he realized the campfires were still glowing. Potatoes hung over fire pits, half-cooked. Needles lay on unfinished shirts. Blankets were arranged neatly. Everything in place, except no one. No laughter, no footsteps, no voices, nothing moved. Even the kayak lay idle by the lake. Nobody paddled away. He walked on. His breath reminded him that life went on. But then he saw the dogs. 7 sled dogs still tied to their posts, emaciated and dead. Starved, frozen, silent. An Inuit family would never abandon a dog. Sled dogs were vital. He counted their bodies, heart pounding. Who could leave them behind? Labelle wandered to the burial mound nearby and found it desecrated. A grave had been dug up from the inside. The stones circling it remained untouched. No signs of wildlife, no tracks, no shovel marks, just a silent, eerie void. Shaken, Labelle returned to the Pass, Manitoba, and reported everything to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Days later, an RCMP officer, Sergeant J. Nelson, responded, but found no village, no bodies, and no records. His official report from January 1931 stated, "I could find no foundation for this story." He noted the photo Labelle had provided was from 1909, and Labelle's trapping license that year suggested he had never worked near Angikuni. He concluded the whole thing was likely a fabrication. So where did the story come from? The first known version was written by Emmett E. Kelleher in the Danville Bee on November 27, 1930, describing a camp of 6 tents and 25 disappeared souls, 7 dogs, and the grave. The tale went quiet until Frank Edwards included it in his 1959 classic Stranger Than Science, spreading it across paranormal circles. From there it exploded, entered UFO lore, ghost stories, horror fiction. Some versions even claim thousands vanished, and strange lights hovered overhead. For the Inuit families living across the barren tundra, the story became a warning passed quietly between generations. Some elders say the people of Angikuni were taken, not by men, but by something from the sky. They spoke of strange lights in the northern skies, not auroras. Those were common. These were silent, circular, and moved against the stars. Could it have been the first recorded mass alien abduction? Or simply a story shaped by fear, winter, and time? The RCMP's official stance is that this was a hoax, possibly a mix of sensational journalism and mistaken identity. They claim Joe Labelle never trapped in that region. No Inuit village existed at the lake. No records, no evidence. But critics argue, how could so many separate reports and names emerge from nothing? Could the truth have been buried? Inuit communities were known to move camp due to food scarcity or weather. Could the village have packed up quickly, leaving a fire burning and some belongings behind? But would they leave their dogs to die? Would they dig up their own grave? Most Inuit migration was orderly and ritualistic. This scene was chaotic. The missing village became popular in UFO lore during the 1960s, as alien sightings swept across North America. Some theorists claimed strange lights were seen hovering over the lake in the days before the disappearance. Others claimed time distortions or parallel dimensions swallowed the village whole. Outlandish? Maybe. But in a land as vast and untouched as the Canadian Arctic, it's hard to say what's impossible. Could a sudden blizzard, thin ice, or disease outbreak have forced the people to flee and perish in the wild? Plausible. But again, no bodies were ever found, no tracks, no trails, no signs of struggle. In fact, the site was so eerily untouched, it felt more like an abandoned movie set than a real village. Why does this story endure? Because something about it feels unfinished, unresolved. No one can prove it happened, but no one can disprove it either. The tundra keeps her secrets. Why we believe. There's a reason stories like this don't go away. Because deep down, we're drawn to the unexplained. In a world ruled by science, satellites, and smartphones, we still crave mystery. Something that doesn't fit neatly in a textbook or on a map. The Angikuni story gives us that. It reminds us the world might not be fully understood. That there are still places so remote, so silent, that the impossible can hide there. Media and myth. Some say the story snowballed because of newspapers. The tale of Angikuni first hit American headlines in the 1930s, years after the alleged disappearance. Over time, it was reprinted, reworded, retold. With each retelling, it grew. Dead dogs, empty graves, abandoned stew pots, even glowing lights in the sky. Did the story evolve on its own? Or did someone help it grow? To sell papers, books, or headlines? Maybe both. The weight of silence. What's most haunting isn't what we know, it's what we don't. No remains, no final message, no evidence that they ever existed, except in a few fading reports and whispered legends. And in the north, silence isn't empty. It's thick, like snow. It settles over time, covering clues, smothering answers. The people of Angikuni didn't just vanish, they were erased. Today, the lake is still there, remote, icy, still. No signs, no markers, no memorial. Only the occasional hunter or traveler, who might pause at the shoreline, glance across the water and wonder, did it really happen? And if it did, could it happen again? Let's forget the skeptics for a moment. Let's say the story is true. A village, gone, without a trace. An entire community wiped from the earth. No struggle, no blood, no sound. What kind of force could do that? Was it a mass migration? Government involvement? An ancient curse? Or something not of this world? Some believe the answer lies beyond the stars. Strange lights. Missing people. A remote location. It has all the ingredients of a close encounter. Some claim Angikuni was the site of an abduction on a massive scale. Not just one person, but dozens. Skeptical? So are most scientists. But believers argue, if aliens ever wanted to study humanity, wouldn't an isolated village, cut off, unnoticed, be the perfect target? No interference, no rescue, just silence. Otherworldly forces. Others go further. They speak of Inuit legends, ancient spirits who guard the land. Some stories tell of Tornarsuk, shadowy beings that punish the disrespectful, or Kalupalik, water creatures who lure people into the depths. Myths? Maybe. But myths often come from somewhere. And when a mystery is this cold, this quiet, it's hard not to wonder if the answer is buried in something older than science. The hole in history. Here's the truth. No official investigation, no preserved records, just scattered reports, and questions no one wants to ask. And in that vacuum, myth becomes memory. Memory becomes legend, and legend becomes truth to those who believe. The village at Angikuni may never be proven real, but it feels real. because it reflects something deep inside us. The fear that we too could be forgotten, that we could disappear and the world would move on. Final thought. In the end, the story of the vanished village isn't just about what happened. It's about what it means. A reminder that mystery still exists, that there are blank spaces on the map, and that sometimes those blanks hide the strangest stories of all. So the next time you look at a satellite image and think we've seen every inch of the Earth, remember Angikuni, a lake, a village, a disappearance that may never be solved. And maybe that's the most chilling part of all. Thanks for watching. If this left you speechless, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. What do you think happened to Angikuni? Vanished, or never there to begin with? Until next time, stay curious and never stop asking questions.